Forearm problem after he's hit by a pitch when he pitched brilliantly against Kansas City. 8 shutout innings.
Our Domino's first pitch of the game right down the middle and a strike to Jerry Hairston Jr. Third baseman tonight for Dusty Baker's club. 62 degrees our game time temperature. Hairston is hitting .262 with 7 home runs and 16 RBIs.
Been a real solid play for him, but he's been battling the flu bug for the last few days.
How about the way that Brad Thompson pitched in his 5 innings, but pitched inside and established that inside portion of the plate?
It seemed like his ball was really running in on the right-handed hitters. There were times when Molina was setting upside, but he got a very effective pitch in. And he jammed numerous Reds hitters.
About this time last week, we were very concerned about Kyle Loge, and then he pitched on the side in San Francisco, shut that down. And then his last side session was very good. There's a strikeout of Hairston that he says he's fine to go tonight. Let's look at Cincinnati's lineup. Just saw Hairston followed by Chris Dickerson, so speed at the top of this lineup. And Phillips, Jay Bruce, Ramon Hernandez, Lance Nix, Ryan Hannigan, Paul Janisch, and Johnny Cueto. So Brad Thompson, his spot starts, so his familiar spot is out in the bullpen. That's where we find him tonight.
He can be a little casual back down there tonight because it would have to be a dire emergency for him to have to take the mound. He might be in the batter's box before he'd be on the mound.
Here's Dickerson, and he pops one foul. Must be a great feeling for a starter. They put in a good day's work the night before, and they know, barring an emergency, they're not playing or pitching tonight. It doesn't look like he's ready. Here's the 0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike on Dickerson, who's hitting .240 with 2 homers and 8 RBIs. How about the Atlanta Braves? They were very, very busy here this afternoon as they released one of their all-time greats, Tom Glavine, released by the Atlanta Braves, and then they weren't done there. They released Glavine, and then they picked up Nate McLeod, a center fielder and an all-star last year from Pittsburgh, for 3 minor league prospects, highly touted prospects, the report says. There's a strike, and they had the Jordan Schaefer, who started the season, one of their top prospects in the outfield and center, but he struggled, so they went with Nate McLeod.
It does happen with highly touted rookies struggling, and Dickerson kind of fits that boat too.
2-2 pitch. Slowly hit left side. Thurston, gloves, can't make the play. Base hit for Dickerson. No error on the play. Cardinals defense tonight presented by Auto Tire. We'll start in the outfield with Duncan, Ankiel, and Ludwig. Just saw Thurston at third, Brendan Ryan at short, Skip Schumacher at second, Albert Pujols at first. And the battery is Loge and Molina. Cardinals defense presented by Auto Tire. A generous base hit given to Dickerson, and now here's Brandon Phillips.
So probably the most explosive hitter in their lineup right now. Bruce has more home runs, the on-deck hitter, but Phillips is the more dangerous guy, as Bruce really struggling all or nothing.
What makes that release of Glavine interesting is that his last time out in rehab, he was very, very good, but apparently a lot of incentives with him making the roster and making specific starts, gaining innings, and that may have led to part of the answer as to why he was released. He was due a $1 million bonus if the Braves added him to the active roster. After 30 days, nearly another $1.5 million, and so on and so forth.
Sometimes you have to turn the page, don't you?
Yep, and that would be it. And you wonder if, in Glavine's mind, that's it for him, because I'm sure he wanted to finish a Brave, and that would be it.
Yeah, I would. In many ways, you'd be disappointed if he tried to go to another team. He's had a Hall of Fame career. Just end it with the Braves.
1-1, and a throw down to first. He has done it again. That is his 30th of his career. Kickoff number 30, I believe, for Yadier Molina.
It is number 30, 4th year. They believe the 4th this year. And maybe Dickerson might have been watching to see where the bat went flying, as it almost went in the stands. didn't get back, and there you see that it's almost a set play between Molina and Pujols, but what a weapon. And you can see the little sly smile on his face as he really likes that one.
That is a design play with those two. They don't give away their secrets, but they know when they're going to do it. They're both on the same page with it. Boy, has it paid off numerous times. Not only this season, but over the years. Molina and Pujols. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs and nobody on. Real pick-me-up, too, for Thurston and for Loge.
And I don't think I've really seen a weapon like Molina at first base. 4th this season, 30th pickoff in his young career. You know, we've seen good pitchers come in and, you know, left-handed specialists come in and pick off guys at first base. But to have a catcher do it as frequently as he does behind the plate, that's amazing.
And that's held on to by Molina. Well, they're going to say that it hit the dirt. So foul tip, and he's still alive.
Darryl Cousins is our home plate umpire and crew chief. Molina's still trying to plead his case.
So those two combining with the 30th pickoff of Molina's career.
Remember the other day, LaRue got one too. What was the pitch?
Pretty good.
Loge fooled Phillips. Might have fooled the umpire also.
Same pitch, reach for it. Thurston backs up, has to fire to first, and got him. Phillips is out. Cardinals coming up, and they're half of the first. Look at the lineup for St. Louis. Schumacher, Duncan, and Pujols. This series, 3 RBIs for Albert, a couple of doubles. Ludwig, Ankiel, Molina, Thurston, Loge, and Brendan Ryan. They'll face a good one, the 23-year-old right-hander Johnny Cueto, Marshall Wireless starter.
His 11th start this year, 42nd of his young career, 2.53 ERA, and opponents only batting 208 against this guy. Electric stuff. He's already pitched a gem against the Cardinals. Last 8 starts, he's pitched at least 7 innings in all of them.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Skip Schumacher. So while one lefty may be leaving the game of baseball, which is Tom Glavine, another one trying to become a 300 game winner tonight in Washington, and that's Randy Johnson. We'll keep an eye on that game. Randy Johnson trying to go for 300, and Tom Glavine left wondering if this is it for him. Now, there are a couple of teams that have publicly said that they would like to get some pitching, the Dodgers being one. There's a liner and caught at third, but a heck of a play made by Hairston. The Phillies being another team that's looking for a little pitching as well. Nix, Dickerson, and Bruce. Hairston, we just saw him with a nice play. Then Yanish, Phillips, and Hernandez, Johnny Cueto, and Ryan Hannigan, the battery.
I guess when you think about Philadelphia, they're not afraid of age. And you see Hairston jump up and snare the line drive. Schumacher was 3 for 4 against Cueto.
And that's something, though, that Jamie Moyer, 250 wins. No one in their right mind would have thought Jamie Moyer would get to 250 wins.
It's 56. No, it's 46. Maybe in 56 he'll get to 300.
He's still getting people out.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. 0-2 here on Duncan, hitting in front of Albert Pujols.
Duncan was in elementary school. Jamie Moyer was like, what, 0 for 6 for the Cardinals?
Right. And a strikeout of Duncan, first of the night for Cueto. We talked about the offensive struggles for the outfield, and again tonight it's Duncan, Ludwig, and Keel in the outfield, and in this lineup for Tony La Russa. And Colby Rasmus, arguably swinging the best bat of the bunch, is on the bench.
Well, if you just look at the matchups, you can see why Tony went with his outfield today. Rasmus is 0 for 3. Duncan is 2 for 6. And Ankiel 3 for 4 with a home run. So that is why he went with his outfield. But I think you've got to look at the way Ankiel was swinging the bat. And it's hard for me to put him in the lineup right now.
Ground ball, base hit for Albert. That'll push his average towards 340 now, if not at or above 340. So a 2-out base hit for Pujols, and it brings in Ludwig. Last night we both were talking about the move that Tony La Russa made to have a double switch, take Ludwig out of the game, and Stabenow eventually came up in that spot. And Stabenow delivered the biggest hit of the game, and he has been remarkable as a pinch hitter this year.
Well, Stabenow has 12 RBIs and 45 at bats and 4 game winners.
Two outs and a runner at first. Ludwig is hitting .248, 8 home runs, 27 RBIs. Everybody was scared at the ballpark a couple of nights ago as Pujols extended a single into a double, twisted his ankle, but he's fine and hit a double last night. You can see why Cincinnati, they feel years to come, they're not that far away from contending, even maybe here in 2009, if they stay healthy with Volquez and Cueto at the top of this rotation for many years.
And you think about Dickerson, they have high hopes for him. Votto, you know, who's on the disabled list. Oh.
Pujols, a great jump and a high fly ball into right. Over is Bruce. He'll slide, and it comes up short. Good effort. Pujols would have had a sure stolen base.
Yeah, he left too soon, but Cueto couldn't stop him as he went home, and then Ludwig swung at the pitch. You know, Bruce, in my mind, has to be a disappointment, not home run wise, but average wise.
Only hitting .220.
And really, I think he's only 1 for 20 on this road trip. So, but they've got some talent in this team. They got the young pitching. They got now a closer. Seems like their bullpen is falling into place for them. They've got all the ingredients.
0-2 pitch. This is in. 1-2. Good pitch there by Cueto. That's a pitcher's pitch, isn't it?
Well, this guy is really learning very quickly how to pitch. And they give an awful lot of credit to Mario Soto, who runs basically an academy in the Dominican for the Reds.
Ludwig is swing and a miss, and 2 strikeouts here in the first for Cueto after 1 no score. Grabowski, Dan McLaughlin with you. Our Toyota keys, and looking at the keys to the game, how about the gloss half full? Troy Gloss is out, and the Cardinal third baseman this year. See what the comparison is to Troy, but Troy wound up with 99 RBIs. This is slicing out and left off the bat of Bruce, and the catch made by Duncan. So Jay Bruce retired with the first out here in the second.
Going back on this ball, under control, reaching up, catching a relatively easy fly ball.
Gloss would tell us that with the cold weather and first month of a season, he just doesn't put up good numbers. But then after that, he got hot.
Yes, and what alarms you a little bit is Thurston and Barton got off to the great April. Really, both of them struggled in May. Now Thurston is starting to show some offense. He's had a very good series here at home. It's been a nice platoon, but I think a lot of people are looking for much more at the third base spot, and really not much help at the minor league level right now. I see where Mather got 3 hits last night and a couple doubles, but Brett Wallace is playing at third base as David Freese is recovering from the ankle surgery.
Slowly hit towards third. Thurston quickly to first. Nice play. So 2 outs, and it'll bring in Lance Nix.
So far so good with Loesch, isn't he?
Yeah, he looks good, and hopefully that doesn't tighten up as we go along here. His right forearm and that burning sensation that he gets there when he was throwing on the side. You know, watch Pujols out when he takes in some of the balls from Thurston or even Brendan Ryan at short. It's not that he's being casual. It's he doesn't stretch, like we've seen with a lot of players in your day. He'll almost go the other way.
Well, it depends on the throw, but it's, you know, using his footwork. A lot of times inexperienced first basemen get trapped because they commit one leg or the other, you know, stepping on the bag, and then because of the variance of the throw, they can't recover.
Nix with a high fly ball into deep right field. All Ludwig can do is look up, and it's gone. A long home run off the bat of Lance Nix. His 5th of the season. 1-0 Reds. On a 1-0 pitch, he makes it 1-0.
That is one thing this Cardinal pitching staff, which leads the major leagues in ERA, has not allowed. Last 14 games prior to tonight, they've only allowed 1 home run and very few walks. 6th home run allowed here, and it's our Hardy's prime cut of the game. Talked last night about his upper body strength, and his legs are compact too.
So that was our Hardy's prime cut of the game, and there's a strike to Ryan Hannigan. Hannigan, the catcher for the Reds, is hitting .319 with 1 home run and 4 RBIs.
He leads all rookies in average with that .319 and on base percentage.
Up and in, 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, nobody on, and a 1-0 Reds lead. Many years it was David Ross or Jason LaRue, Corky Miller. Now it's Hannigan. Breaking ball taken low in the dirt. 2 balls and 1 strike. Boy, he hit that a ton. We don't see many land that deep into the seats and right.
You kind of know when you watch the reaction from Ludwig. He went back and then just looked up.
That's a strike. 2-2. So 414 feet. Distance of that home run off the bat of Lance Nix. 2-2 pitch. A little bit high. Any concern, you think, with Loesch trying to be extended in this game, going deep into a game?
I think it's once again that just simple formula. You see how stressful his innings are.
That pitch was up and into the corner it goes. Hannigan on his way to second, dug out by Duncan. Home run and a double in this inning against Kyle.
And it's more in my experience when you've had the layoff, and it's due to that strain of the forearm, is that you don't have command. and see totally misses location. Ball up over the middle of the plate, gets on top of it and hammers it out to left field. And now they're going to come out and check him. Loesch is waving him off.
He's thrown 27 pitches here tonight, and he is waving him off as if to say he's all right.
That's what I'm seeing, but a home run and then a double, but you know, he missed location. Sometimes, you know, the Cardinals have to remember, if a ball's thrown right down the middle of the plate in a guy's wheelhouse, he's going to hit it hard.
I didn't see if Loesch had kind of looked over to the dugout or to Barry Weinberg or Tony La Russa. So 2 outs and a runner at second. He's given up the home run and a double in this inning. And here is Giannis, the 8th place hitter, with Cueto on deck. First base is open. Outfield is straight away. Remember, Kyle Loesch at one point pitched for Cincinnati. Then he had his bust-out year, free agency year, a season ago with the Cardinals.
Cincinnati, and then went on to Philadelphia in that same season.
And there's a strike at the knees.
Not sure I quite remember his toe being so, you know, really touching the rubber, being so far to the end, the first base side of the rubber.
1-1 pitch. See, right now he's struggling a little bit with that location.
Well, to me, that's just a layoff. And you know, when you have an injury and you can't complete your normal bullpens, these guys are creatures of habit. That's what I'm talking about. He's on the extreme first base side of the rubber. It's really was toe touching.
2-1. That pitch was up. Duncan coming on, and he'll make the catch. Takes a hit away and an RBI. Nice catch by Duncan out in left. Cardinals will have Ankiel, Molina, and Thurston due up. The catch by Duncan as we head to break. World Series champion Phillies take on Andre Ethier and the Dodgers in a rematch of last year's NLCS. Or the Indians battle the White Sox. Twins take on the Mariners. Fox Saturday Baseball returns this week at 3 on Fox. Check local listings for the game in your area. Lou Brock statue. We saw him after the ball game last night down in Aggies lobby.
Oh yeah. Well, I mentioned that Rick is in the lineup because of his success against Cueto in the past.
Hard hit on a hop to Phillips, almost knocked him over. He can't catch a break right now.
Well, and that's what Tony's trying to do. I mean, right now the way he's swinging the bat, and that was a much improved swing as he hits that ball extremely hard, but that's a Gold Glover he puts back on his heels. And you know, I mean, but Tony trying to find those matchups to give him a little confidence.
So here's Yadier Molina, who's hitting .268, 3 home runs, and 17 RBIs. Ooh, up and in to Yadi. He spins away. Yadier is bounced up and down this Cardinal lineup. He's even hit fourth at times with Ludwig out. 1-0 pitch to Molina. 1 ball, 1 strike. Is it hard for a pitcher to learn a changeup? Because, as you mentioned, Mario Soto was so good with it, one of the best we've ever seen, and now he's trying to teach Volquez and Cueto to perfect their changeups.
Well, in my mind, you're talking about Mario Soto, who had a great fastball, and in my mind, it's like one of the very first guys I can remember that threw in the 90 miles an hour that came up with such an effective changeup. Where years prior to me, the most common denominator is everyone threw hard. You didn't throw breaking pitches until you hurt your arm, and there were no surgeries, so and you had no time to recover. So it's either you reinvented yourself as a breaking ball pitcher or you went home. So Soto was, you know, there were guys that had curveballs, they had sliders, but he was the first power guy that had a really nasty changeup. Now you see so many of these pitchers today, a lot of them have very good changeups.
Molina hits it in the air as they're play. Hairston is over and makes a very fine play in foul territory. That's not an easy play. Last few starts for these two starters. Let's take a look for Cueto and Loge. And Cueto giving you 7 innings.
Yeah, I mean, he's automatic. He's going to give you 7 innings. Going to keep you in the ball game. Where Loge, you know, he's had some very good ones, particularly the game against Kansas City on May 23rd. And then he's had some, you know, and early in April, but he's been up and down. You see those 7 earned runs in May 9th.
Here's Thurston. How about holding a changeup? You hear about the circle change and other ways to hold it. What do you think is the most difficult and the easiest way to do it? Or is it all just by feel?
I think it's the individual and how big your hand is. You know, whatever you come comfortable.
Ground ball towards first. And Cueto, a heads-up play, and safe is Thurston. A heads-up play right back at you. Here comes Dusty, maybe. Cueto couldn't believe it, and Dusty, no argument, at least as of yet.
Obviously, the play should have been made. And Hernandez has been playing well at first. He misses it, but then Cueto recovers and he tries to make the tag. You're the umpire. It's hard to tell even from this angle, and he does miss him there. So, but the umpire is going to say his positioning was outstanding, and he's really looking in there, not taking anything for granted. And it does look like he missed him.
And now you get Loge. It's an error on the play, the first baseman.
Right. And that's a 5th error for Hernandez, but he is their catcher, playing there because Votto on the disabled list.
So 2 outs and a runner at first, and Thurston. Good hustle and a heads-up play by Joe. Even every time that he walks, he's hustling down to first.
Trying to make an impression.
Yep.
Every single day. And a guy that's bounced around and plays, you know, with different organizations, played as much time in AAA. He knows right now he's playing for the St. Louis Cardinals, but in the back of his mind, he's playing for 29 other clubs also. He's auditioning for the other 29.
Short lead at first. With 2 outs, here comes an 0-1 pitch. A little liner that's foul. No balls and 2 strikes. So at least the Cardinals get Loge through the lineup. Brendan Ryan on deck, the 9th place hitter. And there's a base hit into right on an 0-2 pitch by Kyle Loge. Watching Cueto after Thurston was safe, he was jumping up and down. Obviously, he was frustrated with the call, but you have to regroup, and you've got to get the pitcher in that spot.
And that's a very good point, because that's kind of reverting back to last season, his rookie season, where a play not being made behind him or something he did wrong, he would overreact. And that was one of the things. Soto has traveled with him a little bit last year, and then all winter Soto tried to talk to him about calming his emotions down, keeping everything in check.
Carlos Zambrano comes to mind.
He did me too, but I want to give Cueto a little bit of leeway before you start putting him in Zambrano's category.
His latest meltdown was probably his best. Is Brendan Ryan on the first pitch, skies one towards shallow center. Easy play there for Dickerson, and the Cardinals are through in the second. 1-0 Reds. On your computer at MLB.tv. Catch over 100 live out-of-market games per week. For complete details, visit STLCardinals.com, where baseball is always on. You see that the right field and left field lines, no chalk, no paint. Just got to brush them off every night. You have to be ready. And here is Johnny Cueto. Cueto, and then the top of the lineup for Cincinnati. Lance Nix with a solo home run, and that's the difference so far in the game. 2 balls and no strikes.
Let's watch and see the control and command of Loge. Missing location last inning.
2-1.
Fouls that one in.
Cueto trying to push it past Loge, dives for it, throws to first, and not in time. It's a great bunt there by Cueto, and a base hit.
His 4th hit of the season, 6th hit of his career, and he just pushes that bunt, tries to hit it hard enough to get by Loge, the pitcher, and pretty much accomplishes, as Loge does corral it, but couldn't get to his knees quick enough to throw him out.
So a base hit to start the third. Hairston struck out swinging his first time up. A baseball family, certainly. The Hairstons. Cueto wants a jacket.
I played against Jerry Hairston's father and met his grandfather, who goes back to the Negro Leagues. Dad was a very good pinch hitter.
Cubs leading their ball game against Atlanta 2-1. It's in the bottom of the 6th. Milwaukee leads in the top of the 5th, 7-1 over the Marlins. Houston over Colorado 3-0. Teams in the Central.
And odd with Randy Johnson going for number 300. You don't have that one on the board.
They're in a rain delay right now.
That explains it.
Yes, it does. First pitch to Hairston, showing bunt, and pushes one foul. So why even have baselines? Let's take a look.
You see him 4 or 5 feet out of the baseline as he starts. You know, if you're a right-handed batter, it's almost automatic that you're going to start out of the baseline when you're running down to first base.
So many times you'll see in those bunt attempts, it's fielded by the catcher. They will run towards the grass and try to block the view, or the throw headed to first.
And that's why you'll see a lot of times that first baseman will set up on foul territory, and then the catcher will follow, so they don't throw into the runner.
Sun is actually peeking through the clouds just a bit here at Busch Stadium. Cool night for baseball. We're back in our suits. Put a smile on your face.
Oh, yes.
1 ball, 1 strike, nobody out. We're in the 3rd of a 1-0 game. Whoa.
His pitches have been high, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. Just not the normal command. I thought the first inning looked pretty good, but
yes,
it's progressively gotten worse.
And you know, one of the little telltale signs would, you know, when you sit down and relax, did your arm stiffen up a little bit? But I'm sure he would be telling the Cardinals if that was the case. And Molina may be asking right now, don't be a hero, just be honest. Is something physically wrong? I was thinking about something, Dan, where you saw Cueto drop down a bunt, and then Hairston bluffed a bunt. You know, with Loesch having played for Cincinnati, did he have a fielding problem?
Good point. They know him quite well, but you know, we've seen him in St. Louis. I can't remember any time that it's been an issue with him.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's, you know, it hasn't. We haven't noticed anything while he's been with the Cardinals.
Here's a 2-1 pitch on its way. That's upstairs too. 3 balls and 1 strike. Good matchup tomorrow. Aaron Harang and Chris Carpenter. Looking forward to that one.
I just looked at Yadier Molina. He looked into the dugout, and they're going to get somebody going. They're going to make a call the bullpen. And Tony right now is going to ask for a medical visit. This will not be charged against it. He looked at the home plate umpire, and Molina initiated this. So something that he heard or something that Loesch said, and then that another high throw, he didn't like it, and they're out there trying to protect his starter.
Yeah, something's not right. So Boyer will start to get loose, and that will probably be it for Kyle Loesch. That is it.
Now, would you know it, that Thompson can't pitch for 17 days because of no opportunities. So he gets a spot start yesterday, and then the next day you need a long man.
It's the way baseball is over the long season. So that's it for Loesch, and Boyer will come in and take his time. As much time as he needs to get loose. This will be our Chevy call to the bullpen. We're worried now here at the ballpark with Loesch out and Boyer coming in. our wing. And by the Casino Queen, home of the loosest slots. To allow Blaine Boyer all the time he needs to get loose. Unfortunate for the Cardinals, Loge is out. Bigger picture, looking outside this game, you wonder how long he could be out, because this is a recurring problem right now with his forearm, and this is something that you want to be careful about and make sure you don't injure it further.
Well, the odd thing is it just seemed like it was not a big deal when he was hit by the pitch. Remember, he wanted to stay in the game. He'd already thrown 8 shutout innings against Kansas City Royals, and Tony wisely said, no, that's it. It had a big lead. The game was not in jeopardy. So you see the numbers for Boyer appearing for the 18th time. He came over in a trade from the Atlanta Braves, revamped his windup. Marty Mason, Cardinals bullpen coach, really deals a lot more with the relievers and Duncan with the starters. But they got him to get away from the 4-seam fastball to this 2-seam fastball and have a more simplified motion and let his arm catch up to his mechanics. But you know what they're talking about? They're trying to map out and figure out what's going on with Loge. But it's kind of awkward or surprising that he would have that much trouble with that forearm. And it really didn't really pop up until about 3 days after the injury, when he did his first bullpen session.
And the unfortunate thing too, you pushed him back, you never put him on the DL.
And now, because
gone 15 days retroactive to about 10-11 days ago, whatever it was.
Yeah, but now since he made the appearance,
right,
you can't do that.
Exactly. So it costs you time there as well. So Blaine Boyer takes over. 3 balls and 1 strike on Jerry Hairston. A 3-1 pitch and a strike, 3-2. Hairston struck out swinging to start the game. Pretty uneventful first inning for Kyle Loge. He had a strikeout, a single, then Dickerson was picked off, and then a ground out by Phillips. But after that, he just didn't look right. Hard hit and right through Thurston. Cueto will stop at second. An error on Joe Thurston, who has played very well defensively for the most part this year.
He has, but this ball was hit hard, but it has to be made at this level. Stayed down on him right through the legs. His 6th error. And he played back on the ball a little bit, didn't charge it, wasn't aggressive, and kind of got caught in between hops.
Exmo Cam brought to you by Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill. Location downtown, 1 block south of the ballpark on Broadway. And here's Phillips. Runners at first and second. Nobody out. Excuse me, Dickerson. Phillips on deck. He could have given Thurston an error on that first play that he had a chance on back in the first as well.
Play off of Phillips after that was a much more difficult play than the one that Dickerson's infield single.
Runners at first and second. Pulled foul. There has been talk about Clayton Mortensen possibly being one of the candidates that could be brought up. But I believe he needs to be added to the 40-man roster.
Yes. And I think part of that thinking is not only that he's a talented young pitcher that hasn't made an appearance and had his major league debut, but his spot was coming up.
Down the right field line, foul.
Whether it was today or yesterday when they were thinking about the start that Thompson ultimately made. This would be a good look to see what Blaine Boyer.
Then you have Mitchell Boggs, of course, who has been up and down with the Cardinals. How far can you go with Blaine Boyer? Certainly hasn't been extended in many of these relief appearances. Does he now turn into the potential long man with Thompson going back in the rotation? It's a thought.
Well, yeah, because I mean, we were thinking it was a one-time appearance for Thompson, but yet now with Loesch, you might have to just put him on the disabled list and just say, let's get this thing taken care of, instead of, you know, every 3 or 4 days it crops up, whether it's in the bullpen or on the mound. So Thompson looks like, you know, he would be the logical one, because he sure did earn it with his assignment last night.
Sure did. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and we see that, you know, Loesch wasn't right, and you have to give Thompson even more credit after watching his pretty good control last night. All that time off.
I mean, there's just no way for me to not consider him for a hungo yet. I mean, he's right there at the top of my list.
2-2 here on Dickerson.
He was on his knees, wasn't he, today?
Little bit low.
Boyer has, I think the longest he's gone in any outing was about 2 innings, and he did that in San Francisco. But I think you can stretch him out, and he does get the benefit of a cool evening.
Here's a 3-2 and a double play. Brendan Ryan takes it himself. Nicely done. 6-3 on the double play.
You like this right now. You know, it took him a step or two to get himself under control, so it was much easier for him to step on the bag than flipping it for Schumacher and making an awkward throw with the bag behind him. He 37 RBIs, leads the Reds, and he had 29 of those in the month of May.
Phillips first time grounded out, and this time picks up a 2-out base hit to make it 2-0 Cincinnati. Cueto scores. Metro East moms and dads. The Cardinals alumni kids clinics are coming to Belleville, Illinois, June 9th and 11th. Boys and girls ages 7 to 13 can learn baseball fundamentals from former Cardinal greats. Number to call 345-9891 or visit stocardinals.com. So that will be charged to Cal Loesch, and here's Jay Bruce, average down to 219. Saw him when he initially was called up. Tore the cover off the ball. He was hitting for average, hitting for power, playing all 3 outfield positions.
On this road trip, he's 1 for 21 and 5 for his last 41. He's amongst the league leaders with his 14 home runs, but they thought he was just going to hit his share of home runs, but hit for a high average.
So 4 hits, 2 runs. One of those was earned, no walks, and 1 strikeout for Loesch on the night. Misses on the outside corner. So 39 pitches total for Loesch, and then he had to be lifted. And he's talked about it, a burning sensation in his forearm. He was showing me the other day where he got hit. I know the Cardinals are obviously now, after this, very worried, but as of about a week ago, they just weren't really sure what was going on. They pitch out, throw by Molina, and Phillips is still in there safely.
He really was leaning, and see if he didn't hurt himself.
Stolen base number 5 for Phillips.
Leaning, they throw the pitch out, but it's a high throw, and it gets underneath the tag. Now remember, he's playing with a hairline fracture of his right thumb. Missed 5 games with that thumb, but he told the Reds, I don't want to go on the disabled list. I think I'll be all right. I'll be able to come back. And you see him grimacing there, and he's hit in every game as he's come back, but maybe not his thumb on this one.
Two 2-0 on Bruce with 2 outs here in this 3rd inning. Phillips, a runner at second base, outfield straight away, and that pitch is taken low. Hernandez on deck. Braves have just tied it up in the 7th inning against the Chicago Cubs. Of course, the Cubs blew a 5-run lead yesterday and had a 5-3 lead in the ninth. Eventually lost in extra innings. So Bruce walks, and in steps Hernandez, first and second with 2 outs. For Boyer, this is a chance for him to expand his role in the minds of Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa.
Absolutely. I mean, this is just a golden opportunity. You never want to see somebody get hurt, but if somebody does, it's an opportunity for you to show that you can have a bigger role with this ball club.
Ramon Hernandez 0 for 1 as he grounded out to third. Cardinals wrap up the series tomorrow. We'll welcome Colorado to town on Friday night. 4-game series with the Rockies. Phillips again running, and he is safe at third. Why is he running, number 1? And number 2, it looked like the throw was there, but I guess the tag was not.
Well, Brian Runge kind of casual the way the third base umpire kind of walked into this call. See him take off. Blaine Boyer did not look at him at all. Looks like he's going to be out. He slides to the back half. The tag is applied to the front part. I don't know if he ever tagged him.
He did, but not until he got to the bag.
The body, his arm came through, and the lead hand touched the back of the bag.
And I know a wild pitch, pass ball could score him, but last thing you want to do is make that third and final out at third base, much less on a steal. If you're going to do that, you better be able to walk to third.
And that was not exactly a close enough play to say he walked in there.
No, that was bang bang.
Well, Tony was talking about Molina and going from first to third, that you got to be aggressive when you're struggling. You're struggling throwing runs or scoring runs, so maybe that's his way of trying to help his club.
Give him credit. He's safe and he's standing at third.
Yep, that's the bottom line.
One ball, one strike.
But Boyer did not pay attention to him or alter his looks back there, and he just sold it off the pitcher.
Line drive, base hit into center. 3-0 Cincinnati. That run is charged to Boyer. Hernandez delivers with his 22nd RBI.
He would have scored on that base hit from second, but he can trot home now. Little slider that stays up out over the plate and hit right back up the middle. Reds ball club has got a little attitude. I mean in a good way. They're starting to act like they can play with the big boys and they can win. They've got a lot of talent.
Nix takes a ball low. Homered his first time up, 1 for 1.
I don't think we've seen, all season we haven't seen a dynasties type team or a perfect team.
And talking before the game, I don't know who's going to win the Central.
Right.
Good play that time by Thurston. And Nix retired. Reds, though, add 2 more. They strand 2. 3-0 midway through 3. Attendance here tonight. Powerade along with Shop and Save are providing all kids ages 15 and under a Yadier Molina jersey backpack, and the backpack will be distributed to kids prior to the June 7th game against Colorado. That'll be this Sunday. To purchase tickets, please visit STLCardinals.com. That's Alan Bennis right there.
Yeah, Alan doing some scouting for the Cardinals, pro scouting and minor league scouting. Sometimes it's good to know what your club looks like.
Here's Schumacher.
Yeah, and I've talked to scouts, and they say, I never see my team, but my general manager will say, hey, we're not happy with our third baseman, so go out and find me a third baseman. So the guy will make a recommendation, and then later on he sees his ball club and he goes, wait a minute, I like the guy we got better than the one I recommended.
Sure. You wonder if the Cardinals will be aggressive. As we talked about right before the break, it doesn't seem like there is one head and shoulders team above anybody else in this Central Division. And if the Cardinals need a piece to go out and make themselves a little bit more competitive, would they be willing to part with some of these prospects that they feel are some of the better ones in baseball?
I think you have to. You always have to if you got a chance to win. Now, sometimes you have to be realistic with your assessment, but we've heard numerous times the Cardinals are so pleased with their farm system and think they have an awful lot of minor league prospects. Rare do you ever say you have too many, but if you have that many, maybe you can package it and come up with that player that can put you over the top.
Well, now we're starting to see some of those trades like we saw today with Atlanta.
I think that is very interesting that McLeod, who is a relatively young player, but he goes to the Pirates because they stockpile 3 more and sound like they got 3 good quality prospects in return.
And McLeod had just signed in the offseason a 3-year extension around $15 million.
Yeah, so he's still young. He's inexpensive when you talk about an all-star, and a guy, he had 26 home runs last year and Gold Glove caliber outfielder.
2-2 is hit out to left center. And the catch made. You saw our Firestone leaderboard. By the way, sitting next to Alan Bennis down there is Matt Carroll. He's the coordinator of baseball operations and pro scouting. He was to Alan's left, so he's with the St. Louis Cardinals as well. Cardinals, though, there's Matt. Allen's in the hat, and to his left is Matt Carroll. Cardinals, though, rely an awful lot of their scouting done by video.
A lot of that is, for the benefit of the ball club, be scouting, the pitching in the league. That old-fashioned scouting when you're looking for trades, or, it's just every ball club will have scouts that are assigned every team. And so that they have a extensive dossier on every player that's in the league, and they'll go like to Cincinnati. Maybe Allen has the Central Division, so he'll not only have the Cincinnati Reds at the major league level, but he'll take it all the way down through their farm system.
Here's an 0-2 pitch. Duncan struck out his first time up. Albert Pujols on deck, and he is single. Was talking with Cal Eldred today about Tony La Russa. From a player's standpoint, you don't realize how much preparation he puts into these games, but even looking ahead next week to Florida and the Cleveland Indians. That's off of Cueto and into center, but he's already had ideas of lineups for some of the matchups next weekend, which is hard to believe.
He's done that, and then you have Dave Duncan, who's got the schedule mapped out for the entire rotation for the end of the year, barring injuries or something happening. The rainouts can dictate something or an injury here or there, but he's got an idea how he wants to do it all the way through the year.
Pujols now comes up with a runner on. Ludwig on deck. 1 out and a runner at first. Set up way outside, and the pitch on the black for strike 1. Pujols rifle the pitch past the shortstop and in the left field for a base hit to take his average to .343 on the year. No doubt he'll be an all-star this year. Molina trying to make it 2 Cardinals. You can vote for your favorite Cardinals player at STLCardinals.com up to 25 times.
Can I ask a question, Dan?
Yes, sir.
Why do they do that? I mean, that just is a gimmick to run up the vote total. But why vote 25 times?
I agree. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm old school. I used to go to the ballpark and punch my ballot. Hanging chads. That's how I liked it.
I mean, it's
and you can vote anywhere in the world. You know, I mean, if you go online.
Sure. And we've seen times where, you know, like an organized effort to get somebody into it.
And that's what I mean.
You know, get somebody voted on that maybe he's not deserving. And you can't really say it's a fan vote that put him over the top if you've got a small core group that are stuffing the ballot box.
Not a huge fan of it, but it is part of the game, and that's how some of these all-stars have been selected. You wonder about, you know, how some of the Cubs got in last year that didn't seem to be all that deserving.
Well, it seems like Milwaukee's been, you know, getting
that's right.
A situation to where they you know, Corey Hart wasn't he the one that won the internet vote? And some of their guys getting up. I mean, they don't. Granted, they have some very good talent, and it's the fans' game. I have no problem with who gets selected by the fans. That's fine, but I just don't like that you can stuff the ballot box.
And as you mentioned, it is a gimmick, and I'm sure it's something that Major League Baseball has done to get people to go to MLB.com, which has been a huge revenue source for all of the major league clubs. 3-2 now.
Seen that little breaking ball out there.
Good pitch.
Yeah. This kid has a good idea, and he's got good enough stuff so he can throw it by you, but when he hits the spots, doubly tough.
3-2 now to Pujols. Runner goes, and Albert skies one down the left field line, and it is out of play. 2 rows deep.
Hey, we got a minute. Happy 14th birthday to Mariah Nixon. Saw her dad before the game, and he wanted to pass along that happy birthday. I hope he at least brought Mariah to the game.
3-2 on Pujols. Single back in the first. 3-2 on this pitch. Let's see what Cueto wants to come with.
See if he throws over to first.
Runner goes again, pulled foul.
And there Cueto makes a very good pitch. He's respecting Albert and know he has an extremely quick bat, but if I'm going to miss location, I'm going to miss inside. I'm not going to miss out over the middle of the plate or inner half to where he hits a home run. The reason I said we see if he'd throw over to first base is see if Duncan leaving too soon. He was running on the previous 3-2 pitch. Anytime you can avoid throwing a strike to Albert, it might be worth trying to get an easy out on the base path.
What a challenge it is for these young pitchers or any pitcher in the big leagues to go after Pujols. Out to left. Playing deep. Nix makes the catch, and Duncan retreats back to first. Can't hit it much harder than that.
Nope. And gambling because you have a contact hitter that strikes out rarely. So even with one out, they send Duncan, and he alertly picked up the ball. Of course, all you have to do is hear. You hear the explosion as he makes contact with it, locate it, and make sure you get back on. Don't get doubled off from the line drive.
All-star from a year ago, Ryan Ludwig, got off to a good start. Average has not been where he would like it, obviously, at 246, but 8 home runs, 27 RBIs. Had that injury in Pittsburgh, and still trying to get on track. These guys have not been taking a rehab assignment.
And that, to me, that's, you know, I mean, he was back quick enough to where he could have gone 3 or 4 days and gone on that rehab and given him a better shot to get his timing back. Elected not to do so, and he struggled in his return.
Same thing with Ankiel. Carpenter is a different case.
Yes, it's a different case.
But he's in a different world.
And, you know, this Reds pitching staff, very good. And so it's, you know, you sit out 14 games, and sure, you know, after a week or so, you take the batting practice, but it's not the same as game action.
0-2 on Ludwig. Outfield is deep and straight away. Just joined us, Kyle Loge lifted in this game, calling it tightness in his forearm, so he is out. Blaine Boyer's in. 0-2. It seems like when you're not going right, you're always behind in the count too. Figuring out her all-star ballot. Duncan checking it as well. One and two. Cueto has struck out too, both of those in the first.
Ludwig was the strikeout victim in the first inning.
We sure were hoping that things would carry over to game 3 like we saw in game 2. Why the finish?
Still a lot of game left, but Cueto's been giving you 7 strong innings, and then they got like any team, the starter gives you 7 innings, the bullpen falls in place, and they have a good bullpen at the end.
Did you like the?
You were kind of like the way they fell into place time-wise, right?
Yeah, good pace last night.
Pace.
With it, ball game finished up. Dusty, of course, saw that final line out, and that was it into the glove of Colby Rasmus, and the Cardinals had taken game 2. On a hop to third. Force play at second, and we played 3 here at Busch Stadium. 3-0 Reds. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Brian Ludwig with a catch as we're back to live action, and Hannigan is retired. That's how we start play here in the 4th. 7, 8, and 9.
Let's see if now Boyer doesn't kind of settle down and get a little efficient. This is off the bat of Hannigan, the catcher. First pitch and popped up to Ludwig. Boyer came in after the injury and to Loesch, and that's just sort of an awkward feeling. You know, the whole stadium is waiting for you to take your warm-up tosses. You feel like everybody's watching and waiting, and you usually say you're a pitch or two early.
Giannis in the hole, Brendan Ryan, and well up the line, so a base hit. No need to throw that. Put it in your back pocket. Jeter-esque, but without the Jeter.
Well, you see the high hopper goes over Thurston's head, and Brendan Ryan throws it, but it's well off the line, and Albert reacts quickly and looked at Brendan Ryan like, what are you doing? But that's Brendan.
So this is Cueto, who pushed a bunt past tonight's starter Kyle Loesch for a base hit. By the way, speaking of Brendan Ryan, nice story about him today. I was visiting with the folks at the Ronald McDonald House. They asked me, do you know Brendan Ryan? I said, of course, I know him a little bit. They said, we like him. So a lot of guys do. He's fun to be around. And this is popped in the air, and Molina can't get it. And you don't always hear these stories. He said, but Brendan Ryan had a chance to visit with some kids and left whatever was the function that was going on, and all of a sudden 2 weeks later a check popped up to the Ronald McDonald House from Brendan Ryan.
It's class act.
Very classy.
Never get tired of hearing those kind of stories.
They said that was the last thing they were expecting.
Sure. You were appreciative just that he met some of the kids and talked with them, and it was genuine too.
Absolutely. As Boyer will step and throw. And the sacrifice is good. By the way, the Ronald McDonald House with a golf tournament coming up, their 24th annual golf tournament, and it's out at Forest Hills. You can look at their webpage to find out about a sponsorship, but they do have spots open. Number to call 773-1100, 773-1100. They have corporate sponsorships available, foursomes available, and that's a week from this next Monday. So make sure you get involved with the Ronald McDonald House. They do great work helping out children in our area and families that need support. So 2 outs and a runner at second base. Unfortunately, we don't hear all those kind of stories about the players.
And I know how much work you do with all the local charities, and you met little Robbie Dutton the other day.
What a nice young man, huh?
Yeah, 8 years old, and favorite player was Ankiel, and I talked to Rick about meeting him.
Into center field. Here we go. Here comes Rick Ankiel. The throw to the plate on line, but the tag not there, and a run will score. The Reds have scored in every inning except the first. So 1 in the second, 2 in the third, 1 here in the fourth, and a 4-0 lead. The throw is right there.
Comes up here and not much up the line, goes off the mound, and just really, Yachty never catches it, tries to apply the sweep tag and gets by. So that's a tough error on Ankiel.
Sure is. Boy, it's fun to watch him throw, isn't it? So you see 2 out runs in this series, now 7 for the Cincinnati Reds. And here's Chris Dickerson. Hairston picks up the RBI, his 17th.
Finishing that story, Ankiel couldn't have been nicer, but the guy I really got to salute was Jason LaRue, because it was a day game. The Cardinals didn't hit. They were hitting under the cages, and Jason met Robbie and took him down in the cages, got a chair, sat there, and all the players signed a ball for him and really went out of their way to say hello to him and everything else. And Jason was the one that got that started.
And a lot of times you hear about the players and some of the things that you don't want to hear about. You never hear about the good stuff.
Right.
And there's a lot of these players that do plenty of that.
Absolutely.
And rightfully so. Many of them don't want the attention. Pitch that's up, hit into right, but the catch made by Ludwig. Midway through 4, Cardinals have to come from behind again tonight. It's 4-0. They trail 4-0. Friday, June 5th, the Cardinals play the Rockies. This Friday, 25,000 fans receive a poster featuring the 2009 St. Louis Cardinals, courtesy of AT&T. To purchase tickets, visit stlcardinals.com. So here is Ricky Ankiel, grounded out sharply to second his first time up. Hit it hard on a hop to their second baseman. Brandon Phillips made the play, and he's 0 for 1, season average at .220. Pops this up into shallow left. Lance Nix puts it away for the first out. Ankiel is 0 for 2. Al's favorites are back. Hot dogs were not served at the first game at Busch Stadium 2 due to workers not having time to adequately install gas grills.
It does help to cook them. Of course, hot dogs were invented at the 1904 World's Fair.
Shallow center, 2 away. Of course, All-Star Game was just 2 months after Busch Stadium 2 opened. As Casey Stengel would say, it holds the heat well. That afternoon, the All-Star Game. Thurston 0 for 1. Seeing our graphics, we have added the on-base percentage to go along with the average and home runs and RBIs, and Joe at 377. One ball, one strike.
Cueto last year had one of his worst games against the Cardinals. And this year he had one of his normal games, defeating them in Cincinnati.
Where's his hat to the side?
You never want to throw a ball down the middle, so you never want to wear your hat down the middle.
2-1. 3-1. Boyer on deck. Nobody getting loose in the Cardinal pen.
And now you need innings. Save that bullpen a little bit. You do catch a break with Carpenter pitching tomorrow.
Thurston, center, and the Cardinals go in order. 4-0 Reds after 4. A special inside look at BP. Cal Eldred will be in uniform throwing batting practice. Brian Barton will be mic'd up. Bench coach Joe Patini describes how the groupings are put together, and Hal McRae will tell us what he looks for during batting practice. Cardinals live tomorrow night, 6:30, right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Blaine Boyer as we move to the 5th. 8 hits allowed by the Cardinals tonight, as Loge gave up 4. Now Boyer with 4. And here's Brandon Phillips. Phillips, Bruce, and Hernandez.
0 for 1 off of Loge, an RBI base hit, and 2 stolen bases off of Boyer for Phillips.
Tampa Bay all over Kansas City. We'll see Kansas City coming up in interleague play. Cleveland, we'll see them as well in interleague play, leading their ball game. 0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals have Minnesota, Detroit, and Cleveland this season in interleague play. Of course, we haven't seen enough of the Tigers, have we?
At least they come here.
It's bunted in the air, but foul. 2 strikes.
3 consecutive seasons we went to Detroit.
Believe so, and we will see
in June, right?
Let's see, Cleveland on the 12th on the upcoming road trip. Kansas City on the 19th on that road trip. June 17th is Detroit in town, and that's our night over at the Champions Club on the 17th. Just a few seats remaining for that, so if you're on the fence as to whether or not you want to come, make sure you stop on by and say hello. The Champions Club will be broadcasting there on June 17th.
We understand that Shannon was anointed the mayor of the Champions Club. We're going to have to compete with that. It'll be a new election on the 17th.
Just thinking about interleague play, we have not been to Baltimore. We have not been to Anaheim. Those 2 teams, though, have been to St. Louis.
Well, don't worry. We've only been doing it for, what, 12, 13 years?
Since 97, right?
12 years. You know, I mean, maybe in the next 10 or 12.
Here's a 2-2. You haven't been to Camden Yards, have you?
I have not. It's the only ballpark I have not seen other than the 2 New York stadiums, which Tommy has informed us that we haven't been to yet this year.
New Yankee Stadium and Citi Field. I was there the final night for Cal Ripken. Here's Brendan, throws on the run. Good play. Pretty smooth out there at short.
I watched the way you watch him play, and he's, you know, playing more under control as he's getting all this playing time, and it's been fun to watch.
And we understand the Cardinals today went over the 3 million mark in tickets, and they have an outside shot of getting 3-3 this year.
I mean, in today's economy, you know, the Cardinals, that's a real accomplishment for them, and they work everyone works so hard at this, but it's really another sign of the great Cardinal fans.
Gobbled up by Brendan Ryan, 2 away. A part of that is because they have the All-Star game this year. That certainly helped, but they got off to a very good start in April. That helped as well. 2 outs, and it brings in Hernandez.
These Cardinal fans are just waiting to applaud something offensively.
How long can you wait if you're the Cardinals? You see some of these trades starting to happen, and you think to yourself, if we're going to be one of those teams that is in it and they've identified an area in which they need to address, how long can you wait?
Just wait till the asking price fits your needs.
Interleague play keeps a lot of teams into it. They feel they still have a shot to compete.
Well, I just like the idea of a DeRosa trade, even if Troy Glaus comes back, because then you've got the ideal, you know, utility man, and really a guy that could play all positions. He started at 6 different positions last year, hit 26 home runs. You know, he's a very good offensive player, and they say that the kind of guy he is that if you need an emergency catcher, he would catch too.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. 2 balls and 1 strike is Hoyer's having his most efficient inning so far. Evan Longoria may have to go on the DL for Tampa Bay. He has 55 RBIs. We'll see him at the All-Star game. He's dealing with a hamstring issue that he may have pulled last night. What a great young player he is.
I believe he wasn't even drafted out of high school.
3-1 here on Ramon Hernandez. Watch out. Backhanded by Schumacher. And he makes a dazzling play at second base. Outstanding play from Skip Schumacher. 2004, that great season for the Cardinals. Lloyd McClendon, Tony La Russa, they get after it. Top of the ninth of a Cardinals win, 4-2. Gerald Perry and Dave Duncan got into it as well.
That was the next day, at batting practice.
Here's Boyer. And here comes an 0-1 pitch. No activity for the Cardinals in the pen, so they're stretching out Boyer right now.
Well, I think it's out of necessity. You just don't want. It was a bullpen start yesterday. You don't want to go too many relievers. Cardinals don't have an off day until the 15th. I did mention that you'd like to think you could catch a bit of a break tomorrow with Carpenter starting, that he'll go deep into the game.
Boyer shoots it down the right field line, slicing, and just foul.
Cueto hit his bat. Got happy feet in the dugout.
Those two are best of friends, Adam Wainwright, Blaine Boyer.
They both signed at the same time with the Atlanta Braves organization, both from Georgia, and apparently they just hit it off from the get-go. And that relationship even continued once Adam was traded to the Cardinals.
Wives are very good friends as well.
Were they in their wedding party?
I believe so. Strikeout of Blaine Boyer.
Adam hasn't quite taught him how to hit.
Of course, Adam has a home run this season at Milwaukee. And here is Brendan Ryan. The Cardinals just 3 hits again tonight. Four nothing Reds.
Right now, you can look at the lack of production at several different positions. We talked about how at the beginning the outfield really, what you thought was going to be a source of strength for the Cardinals, is really not materialized. Injury to Ankiel and Ludwig has had some bearing on that, but they just have not produced the numbers we thought they would.
One ball, one strike.
Shortstop, not getting what you thought offensively from that position.
There's a line shot, base hit into right. What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability. Carpenter takes to the mound tomorrow, 6:30 with the pregame show. The Reds and Cardinals on Fox Sports Midwest.
A good pitching matchup. Harang against Carpenter.
All 6'8" of Aaron Harang.
Remember, they matched up a couple years ago and end up being a 1-0 Reds win with Harang getting the lone RBI.
Schumacher taps it foul. Skip has lined out to start the game for the Cardinals offensively to third. Very fine play by Jerry Hairston. And he's also flied out to left.
Hairston playing in at third now. If he hit that same ball, he wouldn't go over his head.
A fine play defensively by Skip. Might have been the best play we've seen him make at second base.
He's made some nice ones, but that I agree with it. Thinking about Blaine Boyer ducks, thinking that he escaped that having a line drive go off his forehead, and then you get an out from your second baseman, making a heck of a play up the middle.
He was telling me the other day that for himself defensively at second base, the ones that are kind of the routine plays are actually harder for him than the play that we just saw, that diving stop and the backhanded play, because he doesn't have to think.
Right. It's the reactionary play that he's found to be very simple, or any ball hit in the air. He's been outstanding on those, but the slow roller where you're trying to gauge your speed coming in, what to do with it, and it's really almost the thought process comes into play rather than the reactionary play where you just make it.
2-2. One out, runner at first. Cueto at 71 pitches. How about their bullpen here in game one? That was a story as Volquez was hurt, numbness in his fingers, had to leave the game after just one inning, but their bullpen was terrific in game one. The Cardinals won last night. There goes Brendan Ryan. Broken bat hit to second, and it's underhanded by Phillips for the second out. So Brendan Ryan in scoring position. Just the second time the Cardinals have come up with a runner in scoring position tonight.
And Duncan, the key at bat here, 2 outs, 1 for 2. Can he extend this inning to Albert?
And time is called with 2 outs. Duncan on 2 strikes back in the 3rd inning, singled and struck out, looking his first time up. Cueto has struck out 3 tonight. Outfield is deep and straight away for Duncan.
Been a while since he's hit a long ball, hasn't it?
Just thinking the same thing.
Only 4 on the season for Duncan, and Cueto has allowed 12 home runs on the year. Of course, they play in a very small ballpark.
Last home run was against Milwaukee. Previous road trip, the first stop. One thing about the Reds, as you mentioned, they have that very fine closer in Cordero, so they get decent starts from their starting rotation. Comes down to middle relief. Can you get to them? At some point, we'll probably see them tonight. It's 73 pitches already for Cueto, now 74.
He's had, I believe it's 8 straight games where he's gone at least 7 innings. Key at bat, can you get to Albert?
Last start out against Milwaukee, 7 innings, 3 earned runs. 2-0 pitch. 2 balls, 1 strike as that'll get out of play. So Cardinal third baseman so far this season, 17 RBIs as we showed you earlier. Troy Gloss first 2 months last year at 33 on his way to 99. So if you're looking for various spots to pick up the offense, will it be Duncan? Will it be Ludwig? Dan Keel, somebody to get hot outside of Albert Pujols.
Right. I mean, you have to have that protection.
Grounded to second. Phillips to his left. Makes the play. And the Cardinals strand a runner. They've left 5 on tonight. Cueto is through 5, and it's 4-0. base at bat on Duncan.
And you know they know this is a key at bat. They're going to work him in out there, then back away. Little breaking ball down and away. Way fouls that one off. 92-mile-an-hour fastball, gets back inside, and a little ground ball to second base. As Cueto knew the circumstance. You know, he's got 4-run lead, but already had a man on, 2 outs, and Albert was on deck.
Again, it's one of those nights, the Cardinals with only 4 base hits. Lance Nix lines out, 1 pitch. Historical franchises on display here tonight with the Cardinals and the Reds. First season, though, for Cincinnati, 1882. 9 retired numbers, the World Series championships. Last coming at the expense of Tony La Russa and the Oakland A's.
9 retired numbers. Had some tremendous players over the years.
Hard to pick the best of the bunch. Some great players.
And the Cardinals have 7 Central Division crowns, 15 National League pennants, and 10 World Championships. The most in baseball, with the exception of the New York Yankees.
That's why Tony decided to pick number 10 when he got to St. Louis. 10th World Series title. The pressure of wearing that number 10.
I wish he'd changed to 11.
I do too. Here's Hannigan. Ball, 1 strike.
Tony, his 30th year managing in the big leagues. Franchise leader in wins for the Cardinals and 3rd on the all-time win list.
Hear about managers going into the Hall of Fame. What about coaches? 1-1 pitch.
To my knowledge, there is not a coach in the Hall of Fame. I mean, there's Hall of Fame players, or like a Yogi Berra, who has managed and also been a coach. Stargell was a coach. You know, Red managed and coached, but you know, got there as players. And Tony will go into the Hall of Fame as a Hall of Fame manager. How about the, you know, I mean, some people have thought about a category that would include like a George Kissel.
Instructors.
Or something to
Great
that degree.
baseball
Or,
man.
yes. And, you know, I mean, Whitey Herzog.
How about some scouts?
Same thing. You know, I mean, but Herzog is had almost every, from a player to a scout to a general manager to a manager to a farm director. You know, every aspect. Run minor league systems, done everything in the game of baseball, and I believe he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Here's a 3-2 pitch. Ground ball and a nice hop for Thurston. And then MCs the Hall of Fame ceremonies. Was in St. Louis for 1 year.
George Grant.
Yeah, now 17 years with the Cincinnati Reds. One of the nicest guys in baseball. And he anchored back in 1979 the first ever SportsCenter broadcast.
Working with Jeff Brantley and Kent Marker. And is working with Hall of Famer Marty Brenneman today on radio and also tomorrow.
Brendan Ryan up with it and makes the play. So Boyer is settled in nicely. 4-0. Cardinals trail. AT&T. Switch to the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Cardinals need to get something going. Only 4 hits tonight. Banks of the Mississippi here in downtown St. Louis at Busch Stadium. 4 hits tonight and trailing by 4. One of those base hits by Pujols was 1 for 2, and he also lined out to left. Our understanding is Albert Pujols will take part in not only the All-Star game, as he'll be the leading vote getter, we would assume, we expect, but also take part in the home run derby. Wonder if he's going to have Dave McKay be his personal pitcher, which he is right now, just like he was for Mark McGwire. Makes sense. Josh Hamilton had a former coach do it last year as he put on a show at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, I would think Albert would ask, and batting practice pitcher can make a big difference.
2 strikes. Only player to repeat the home run derby, I believe, is the champion back-to-back. Any idea who that might be?
No.
Hamilton is going on the DL.
But he didn't win it.
That's right.
Remember, he put on the great show, and
he was worn out.
He was worn out. I mean, there's some strategy, and that's what people have said, that, you know, when you win the round, you stop, because it doesn't mean anything in the early rounds. It's not a cumulative total.
2-2 pitch. How did he even hit this? And it drops in for a base hit. And Pujols
ground rule double.
Will wind up with a ground rule double. By the way, the answer to that question was Ken Griffey Jr. How did he hit that pitch?
Well, he has that ability to get that pitch inside and get on top of it. And, you know, see how quick he is. Remember we were talking about trust your hands? There's an example there. You know, the ball up and in. That's almost an impossible pitch to hit. And yet he is so good with his hands that he can just trust that they will get there to the point of contact, and you know, where other guys are worried about getting jammed, he's not.
Almost as if he hit that with one arm too.
He's fighting it off. It's up and in. You know, it's an awkward swing. You know, everybody wants to get their arms extended and have a fluid swing. That's, you're pulling your hands all the way in. You're trying to hit something right in front of your face.
That's pulled foul. Speaking of Josh Hamilton, I'm in the middle of reading his book. And to see him come back from what he has come back from is
frightening, isn't it?
I mean, it's a miracle. It really is. Reds had him and came back from drug abuse.
I mean, he is so lucky to be alive.
And he says that essentially in the book. 1 ball, 1 strike. Had a chance to visit with him when he was with the Cincinnati Reds, and he would only travel with only a few dollars in his pocket, obviously for the reasons that he didn't want to spend the money on something that he shouldn't. But what a nice man. I mean, realizes he's got a second chance, understands the significance of that.
He showed up on his grandmother's doorstep.
Yes.
You know, just, you know, you got to get so low to where you know, allow yourself to start fighting your way back.
She barely recognized
you got to give a little credit to his wife too.
Absolutely. 3-1 pitch to Ludwig. Cold count. And Ludwig was the one that was telling me about trusting his hands the other day. And in batting practice, trying to take everything to right to let the pitch get in on him a little bit longer.
That's it. I mean, a fear of being jammed. You know, a lot of hitters have that, so they pull off the pitches, do everything. But the good hitters trust their hands that they can wait longer, allow the ball get in on them, and then they have the quick, compact stroke to where they can still make contact and hit it hard.
Outfield is straight away for Ryan Ludwig. And a 3-2 pitch. Pulled foul.
Tom Mee, our outstanding director, his favorite all-time pitching coach is Joe Coleman. And Joe Coleman used to always say, trust your stuff. And Tom Mee that phrase right there meant more to him than anything he's ever heard in the game of baseball. Trust your stuff.
3-2. Ludwig out to left. Nix is back. Makes the catch on the run. And Pujols has to get back to the bag at second. And it's almost a double play as he's in there safe. It looked to be a throw that beat him to the bag.
It
of course,
sure
we
did.
saw in game one, it was a sprained ankle with Albert Pujols. And they're trying to make sure that a couple of these players stay in the game. But I think he was out.
Yeah, Ramon Hernandez, the first baseman, went over there arguing hard with Jim Joyce. Goes back on the ball, leaps up to the last second and hauls it in. Albert was 3/4 of the way to third, comes back, slides hard, and
he's out.
He's out, and because Phillips stays on the bag, looks like he slides right into the foot, but he's back on the bag.
Almost got him. Good play by Nix. Takes the hit and RBI away from Ludwig. So one out. Pujols safe at second base. And now Rick Ankiel. Yadier Molina on deck. Rick Ankiel tonight is grounded out to second. Also flied out to left. 0 for 2. Outfield is deep for Rick Ankiel. A lot of changeups we've seen to Rick Ankiel, a lot of off-speed pitches.
Yes, an awful lot, and of course Cueto's got the good fastball, but he's got good location where he can spot it.
Popped up. That pitch at 86. Hairston makes the play for the second out. So brings in Molina. Ankiel 0 for 3 on the night.
Yeah, Dan, even in this game where you lose Kyle Loesch for 2+ innings and you aren't sure about the extent of his injury, you're still getting good pitching. You're containing this club. It's 4-0. You still got a chance to take this game. It seems like you have to help this team out right now because it needs some help. And what I'm talking about is making a trade.
Molina towards short. Cardinals will strand their 6th base runner tonight. 4-0 after 6. Take a look at our Infinity game recap. Gallows made the start for the Cardinals tonight. Had a good start to this game as Molina picked off the second batter that the Cardinals saw, but then Nix would go deep later, hit a long home run to right, and that would be it for Kyle Loge. Had to be lifted in this game. Brandon Phillips picks up another RBI. Blaine Boyer came in relief, and he's still on the mound for the Cardinals. Our Infinity game recap. Here's Johnny Cueto. Give Boyer a lot of credit here. He's pitched well.
He's also retired 7 in a row, and majority of those 7, 5 of them have been ground ball outs.
And quickly, strike 2. 7 in a row and 50 pitches.
And this is 5th inning of work.
We're in the 7th. It's 4-0 Cardinals. Or rather, Reds. Cardinals trail, and Cueto looks at a call. 3rd strike.
Good breaking ball right there. Knee buckler.
Every once in a while, something just kind of catches your attention, Al, and was looking down near the Cardinal dugout, and your buddy had made his way from our booth to the seats.
John
Caught
Rich.
me off guard.
Yeah, John Rich down there. He's going to sing the "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" 7th inning stretch.
Country star, right?
Country star, big and rich. He's the smaller cowboy there. And that is a big man, but that's not big. John Rich put a little one-man concert on over at the Ballpark Saloon before the game as a promotion for one of the radio stations here in Crown Royal.
0-2 the count here on Jerry Hairston. Atlanta and the Cubs have gone into the 11th. It's 2-2. Milwaukee trying to hold on in their game. It's now 9-6 against the Marlins. That's in the bottom of the 8th.
Braden Looper started that game.
Colorado has come back against Houston. It's now 4-4. In the air to center field. Hairston retired. 2 outs. Thinking caps on. Let's take a look at the Aflac trivia question tonight. Aflac! When was the last time a Reds pitcher threw a no-hitter? Tom Browning comes to mind.
Yeah.
Aflac! His perfect game back in 1988 against the Dodgers.
Remember, it was a perfect game. Didn't remember who it was against.
2 outs, nobody on. Ground ball. Pujols will take it. Time to stretch. 4-0 Reds. season, each Friday game features a former Major League All-Star. Friday, June 5th, will be 10-time All-Star and Hall of Famer Red Shandy's from 5:30 to 6:30. First 150 people in line guaranteed to get a Reds autograph from Red Shandy's. For information and tickets, visit STOCardinals.com. First pitch, chopped to short. Thurston retired. And just like that, one away. Again, the Cardinals only 5 hits tonight against Johnny Cueto. Here's Colby Rasmus. He'll be the pinch hitter. Rasmus off the bench and swinging one of the better bats of the outfield core as of late.
Yeah, he's only 243, but you can see the 6 home runs, leads all rookies, and 4 for 8 in this series as he's starting to heat it up. Ten of his last 13 hits have been extra base hits, including 5 home runs. So Cueto doing what he normally does, gives you his 7 innings.
Going right at Rasmus.
When you got his kind of stuff, why mess around?
94 pitches tonight.
More than a 2-to-1 strike to ball ratio.
0-2 pitch going inside, ripped into the corner. Rasmus on his way to second. 1-out double for Colby.
Nothing wrong with an inside pitch. His problem was it was down and in. And Colby Rasmus, they're going in, but you see down and in, and he just drops the bat head and rifles it down there. So another extra base hit for Colby. It's going to be hard to keep him out of the lineup the way he's swinging a bat.
So he's at second, and here's Brendan Ryan. Ryan with a single. He's 1 for 2.
Dan, you know, I mean, you can look at matchups and see what a guy, one of the other outfielders has done in the past against a certain pitcher, but the way Ankiel's swinging the bat, I don't know if you can afford to keep him out there.
And they keep
at
trying
the expense of Rasmus.
Right, and they keep trying to get him going, but it hasn't worked. Now Cueto wants to go over the signs. Crowd tonight, 35,811. 35811 here at Busch Stadium. And the idea was with those outfielders was to mix and match, but if one guy's not going right, it's tough to do that.
And it's that fine line too, you know. And remember, Stavanoa's thrown his name in there, but you know he's only going to be coming off the bench. It looks like
lefty and a righty getting loose for the Reds in their pen.
Massett, and it looks like Herrera.
Herrera really did a nice job in game 1 of this series. Gave them 3 innings.
You know, he's 5'6", features a screwball, and Massett is opening some eyes with his sinker.
Cardinals have been out hit 8-6. They trail 4-0. 1-0 pitch to Brendan Ryan.
Cubs have picked up a run in the top of the 11th. Still batting over the Braves. It's 3-2 now.
Feels like a fall night, doesn't it, here at the ballpark? One and 2 the count.
They're still getting in on some of these right-handed batters. Up and in, down and away to the right-hander.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Ouch.
Get that sinking fastball at 94, and then you foul right off your front foot. That was a good one. on the instep. Yeah, ball just diving down, and then you foul it right down on top of that foot. Watch it on the inside instep. Ooh.
That hurts.
Sometimes it's a glancing blow. Other times you hit it solidly, and that was a. Then you just can't wait to hit a ball where you can run. Or you get afraid you're going to get the same sinker coming right back down in on you.
Went there, but that's a fair ball. Inside the third base line. Rasmus will score. Brendan Ryan gets the Cardinals on the board. It's now 4-1. Two-hit night for Ryan.
And finally he gets off his third RBI. I mean, he's been sitting on 3 RBIs for a while. Had a couple chances last night. Didn't come through, but here he does. Try to go back that same pitch. This one stays up a little bit. He's ready for it, and inside turns on it right over the bag. And Colby scores, and Dusty out to talk to Cueto. And it looks like he'll make a pitching change. Bring in the lefty Herrera. It's our call to the bullpen, brought to you by Chevrolet, as Herrera has a little trouble getting out of there. So the Cardinals got something going here. We'll take a break, and we'll be back with the Cardinals trailing 4-1. Appearing for the 23rd time. Good ERA, under 2. This young man features a screwball. The Cardinals did see him in the first game of this series. He threw 2 innings of shutout baseball. And he's not very big. He's 24, listed at 5'6", 165 from. He's a Texan all the way through, and he came from the Texas Rangers in the Josh Hamilton trade. So Barden will get a pinch hit here for Schumacher. And once again, can we get to Albert Pujols in this frame with some guys on base?
6 1/3 by Johnny Cueto, and he throws 100 pitches here tonight. So Barden the pinch hitter for Schumacher, and he takes a ball inside. Cubs now have taken a lead in their game 3-2 in the top of the 11th. Brendan Ryan, the runner at second base.
Tony believes that Barden is a low ball hitter, and if a guy features a screwball, that should be a pitch down in the zone. But still, it's one of those pitches you don't see a lot of.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Ryan is off with the pitch. A throw down to third. They got him.
Why? What were you saying about being able to walk down to third? There's a screwball and it's up and it hangs up there, but Hennigan throws him out by a mile. Tag just waiting for him to slide into it. No way to fake that one.
So now 2 outs and a 2-1 pitch to Barden. And Barden then trying to bunt his way on. And a swing and a miss. Whatever momentum the Cardinals had, it's gone. 4-1 Cincinnati. Located at either Hampton Avenue or Clayton Road on Saturday, June 6th from 10:30 to 12:30. Meet a member of the St. Louis Cardinals. For more information, visit Schnucks.com. Schnucks.com to find out more. The rare George Hendrick jersey here at the ballpark. Brandon Phillips leads it off here to start the 8th against Chris Perez, his 22nd appearance of the year.
Well, maybe Chris can turn that momentum, shift it back the Cardinals' way. That was an understatement, Dan, when you said that whatever momentum they had just left.
We had Ryan getting thrown out at third base, and then Barden trying to bunt in the strikeout. Thump.
You're in scoring position at second, and obviously you'd have to believe he was going on his own, but not a wise decision. Or sometimes rookies are afraid to make mistakes. You know, they're just, so they lay back. Other times they get reminded why sometimes you should lay back.
That's hammered and fair. Down the third base line, Brandon Phillips on his way to second. So another base hit for Phillips. 2 for 4 on the night.
He's their most dangerous hitter in my mind right now. Just hammered the ball right over the bag. Weathers is, it's like David Weathers is warming up in the Cincinnati bullpen.
So Jay Bruce digs in. 0 for 2 with a walk. 4-1 Cincinnati. On the outside corner, Boston beat Detroit 10-5. Texas over the Yankees 4-2. Angels over Toronto 8-1. Tampa Bay blanked Kansas City 9-0. The Mets and Pirates postponed.
Milwaukee does win. The Cardinals have to come back in this game to have a share of first place. Perez stranded 2 1/3 of an inning. Last Wednesday at Milwaukee. Did pitch in the first game of this series.
It's out of play. Randy Johnson still apparently will get a start tonight against Washington, and the reason why, they say that it's supposed to rain there tomorrow, and not the big crowd as you might imagine. So they want to try to get that game in. Going out, Brendan Ryan. 1 away. (1968) manager Alvin Dark proclaimed that NASA would put a man on the moon before Gaylord Perry hits a home run. He hit one the following season 20 minutes after Neil Armstrong stepped foot on the moon. When you have 7 hits, that's what we resort to. 1 away, and here's Hernandez. And a swing and a miss. Hernandez twice has grounded out. He's also singled. 1 for 3. Phillips is the runner at second following his leadoff double. Oh, 0-2. Seeing Perez just pumping fastball after fastball.
Some days you feel a little stronger than others. You might have a little more life. Make a good location. You see Mott throwing more fastballs now too, and mix in the slider when you maybe now that you've got 2 strikes. There are certain hitters, though, you do them a favor by throwing them off speed pitch. You can't catch up, you're dead red.
There's a slider that time. Ichiro has had hitting streaks of 20 or more 7 different times.
Yeah, you said that last night. Right?
Trying to make it 27 straight tonight.
Probably got a pretty good chance to do so.
When Randy Johnson made it to the big leagues, first 3 years he led the league in walks. And then figured it out.
Phillips just jockeying around back there, and Perez did the right thing in stepping off. Just trying to disrupt the pitcher.
A couple of steals tonight for Brandon Phillips. It was when Boyer was on the mound in relief of Loge. Loge had the lead with tightness in his forearm.
Can't say enough about the job that Boyer did, though.
Very nice job.
Saved the bullpen and saved Dave Duncan. We could have had back-to-back, disasters.
2-2.
And if Thompson didn't do what he did last night, or Boyer tonight, you might have been in a situation where you were making a roster change just to have a fresh arm.
Cardinals carry 13. Team ERA collectively has been very good.
Best in the major leagues. Came in tonight with a 3.58 ERA. It's because the awesome pitching of the last 14 days prior to tonight.
2-2 pitch. Instead another check.
I asked Dave Duncan when we were in San Francisco, I said, because of this great stretch of pitching, have you thought about going with one less pitcher? And he said, but by the time you do that, then you're going to have one of those games where you really need that long man. And we've had 2 in a row. And then he thought about it a little more, and he goes, right now we don't have an impact player at the minor league, so we'd rather have the extra pitcher than to have that one more bench player, because there's nobody really is going to make an impact.
Heard the name of Brett Wallace, but Cardinals want to keep him down in the minor leagues.
There you are, playing general manager again. Just what you're thinking for the DHing in American League City.
Right.
That thought has been shot down by leaving him there, better for his development. But I understood your thinking.
Because it made all the sense in the world. 3-2 the count on Hernandez in the 8th of a 4-1 game, and he walked him. So a double, pop out, and now a walk. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Runners at first and second now for Lance Nix. Nix with a home run to get things going for the Reds back in the second. As if he didn't think it would happen, or hasn't happened already, Sammy Sosa said that he will soon announce his formal retirement from baseball. .609 home runs, seasons of 66 homers in 98, 63 and 99, 64 and 01.
You were just telling me that you go to bed every night contemplating that announcement.
He said his favorite season was his last one. Played for the Rangers. Yeah, he had 21 home runs in 114 games. One and two the count on Lance Nix. Nix's home run was off of tonight's starter for the Cardinals, Galloge. Perez would love the double play here. And Nix cranks one right field, and it is a 2-home run night for Lance Nix, and he may have put this game out of reach with number 2. This one a 3-run shot, and it's 7-1 Cincinnati.
It's been impressive in this series. Lance Nix getting an opportunity to play. First home run was a long shot. This one is a 3-run shot, and as you said, the back of the Cardinal bullpen, and just a killer blow.
They start to head for the exits here at Busch in droves. Immediately off the bat, knew that one was gone. That pitch taken a little bit high by Hannigan. So Perez getting roughed up here. 2 on the night for Lance Nix, and 4 RBIs. Into center field for a base hit. Nobody getting loose right now in the Cardinal pen.
Right now it's just going to be one of those situations where you hate to do it to a young pitcher, but right now you have to suck it up and you have to finish this inning. Don't slump your shoulders. Just go out there and show them you're a battler.
Here is Giannis
as we get Miller up.
Oh, 0-2 the count. And that ball scoots away from Molina.
Talked about how Perez was going to have to turn that momentum around and put it back on the Cardinal side, and that's not happened.
And a fly ball into right center. Over to get it and Keel, and he'll make the catch. Runner will tag. Throw from Rick on a hop to third. So Cueto is in line for this victory. 100 pitches tonight, 6 in the third.
Gomes is going to pinch hit here for Cueto, or for Herrera.
And Weathers throwing in the pen for Cincinnati.
Seen the Cardinals get to Weathers before, and seen times where as a closer he's closed out games.
And a strike at the knees. 2 outs and a runner at third. Miller continues to throw in the Cardinal pen. Interesting to see what the Cardinals have to say about Moj after this game and how they will treat this. As you mentioned earlier, probably the best bet would be to DL him now. That's our guess.
Yeah, it's just lingered on too long.
Just to make sure that you take care of it.
Now you do have and you might need to have an extra fresh arm, so that may force the issue, but I'm sure they'll do a little more testing on it to find out. So it could be a very costly loss tonight.
And a swing and a miss. Perez, though, gives up the home run to Knicks. Bottom of the 8th rolls in when we come back. 7-1. David Weathers takes over now for the Reds here in their half of the Cardinals half of the 8th, with their team on top by 6 runs.
Career appearance number 917. He shut out opponents in 17 of his 20 games. And Weathers over the last 10 years leads all major league pitchers with his 666 appearances, 3.30 ERA during that time, 660, 725 and 2/3 innings. Long career for David Weathers. He's now 39 years of age.
Looking forward then to tomorrow night and having a chance to see Carpenter back on the mound and well, probably try to earn a split depending on what happens the rest of the way.
Well, you'd like to. You never know in this game of baseball that Duncan has to get something started. At 6 outs to get, and they need at least 6 runs they need 6 runs to tie. Weathers is from Tennessee. Been around a long time.
Dusty Baker was asked about Joey Votto earlier, and he said, you know, this game can be all encompassing, day and night. Talking about Votto, who is out because of stress related issues. You have Khalil Green with the social anxiety issues. Dontrelle Willis dealing with that. Zach Greinke at one point slowly hit. Duncan retired. And Votto was hitting 357.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, it's Khalil having a tough time dealing with failure. Well, Votto was being successful and had a hard time dealing with it.
There's Albert Pujols.
Another good day for Albert, 2 for 3.
First pitch outside. For 17 against David Weathers.
I said we've seen David, you know, about the last 4 years he's been with Cincinnati, and many times it's their closer. In his 16th big league season, 39 years of age, and climbing up that all-time list of appearances.
One of those arms that just never wears out.
18th place now. Past Jim Cott, Sparky Lyle, Cy Young, Trevor Hoffman this year, next on that list. Not quite Trevor yet. He did pass Trevor. He hasn't. Get Gene Garber pretty soon because Trevor's going up there too.
Out to center. Pujols retired. 2 away. It's twice he has lined out tonight. Once to center and the other time to left. David Weathers, every time we see him home road during the summer, he's got his kids with him and hitting baseballs to him, and it's great to see. You get here to the ballpark early and they're out in the outfield taking some BP.
And they homeschool the kids, and the last 4 years, you know, every single day the little lefties out here with him. Now is a younger brother coming too?
I believe so. It's neat to see. Here's Ludwig.
Now it won't be long before Luke will be carrying your computer.
Maybe a pen pack of swords.
Oh, we'll take him on a road trip. We'll give Luke that education.
Oh yeah. And Ludwig taps one foul. No balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs and nobody on. David Weathers against Ryan Ludwig, the All-Star last year, is 0 for 3. Lined out in the 6th.
Looks like Trevor Miller will be pitching in the 9th for the Cardinals.
Cardinals 1 run came in the 7th thanks to Brendan Ryan, an RBI double. Reds scored the second, the third, the fourth, and the eighth. Lance Nix with 4 of the 7 RBIs.
Somehow I think after the game that RBI double by Ryan won't be the main topic of conversation.
Certainly he will be, though. Lance Nix.
Yes, big night.
Reaches for it, pops it up on the infield. Last year's Gold Glover at second. Brandon Phillips puts it away and sends us to the ninth. 7-1 Reds.
At Busch Stadium. Don't forget, coming up after the game on the post-game edition of U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live, we'll have an update on Kyle Loesch, who had an early night. We'll have player reaction straight from the Cardinal clubhouse. Plus, on the anniversary of the publication of Mighty Casey, we'll have a tribute. Pat Paris will rhyme the highlights. It's must-see TV. It's coming up with Pat Paris and Rick Horton. For now, we send it back to Dan and Al, guys.
Nick Stavinoa takes over in left. And Trevor Miller is into the ballgame. Nobody warming up behind Trevor with a 7-1 deficit. They'll rhyme the highlights.
I'm still trying to digest that.
The lefty,
Would
Trevor
be a
Miller.
coat and tie, or does he get into period dress?
You talking about Pat or
Yes,
Ricky?
no, Pat for the Casey at the bat.
I think he's in regular coat and tie. That'll drop for a base hit. Jim, what do you have for us?
No, they're going to rhyme them. Pat Paris is going to rhyme the highlights.
He's going
to have his normal suit and tie, but he's going to rhyme.
Well, that's what Al was very concerned about. What
seemed like it'd be a lot better with, a costume.
Jim, last year was what, Shakespeare? That Ricky got into a Shakespeare outfit?
I've lost track. I remember Ricky Horton as a man of the future. They do a lot of stuff on the post-game show.
What's this they stuff? You're part of it too.
I never wear a costume. Actually, I feel kind of left out.
Probably feel
we
better
change
for
that.
it.
No, I'm good right here.
Here's Dickerson. And this is hit the opposite way, but out of play.
Yeah, somehow I'd see the cat drinking buttermilk, doing some of these little skits that they do afterwards.
1 ball, 1 strike. One and 2 the count. Dickerson tonight. A couple of ground outs. He is singled. He's also flied out. 7-1 Reds as we play here in the ninth. Busch Stadium here in St. Louis. Game 4 tomorrow at 6:30. There's that good-looking off-speed pitch, a little breaking ball.
Been very good retiring left-handed batters. They have struggled against him. 4 for 32 are left-handed hitters.
Here's Phillips, who has reached base a couple of times with a single and a double.
You notice when he first came over from Cleveland, you know, he had played with a lot of flair, and now that he's got that Gold Glove and playing much, you don't see the flair as much. You just see his really natural talent come out.
See confidence.
Yeah.
Definitely see that. Very good defensive player. And as you talked about, last couple of years, he's been an offensive threat from that second base position, and has really picked it up in the month of May, and it's carried over here to June. 29 driven in the month of May.
Had 21 home runs last year, 78 RBIs, but.
And he hits one a ton out to left. And this ball is gone. The third home run for Cincinnati tonight. The 10th on the year for Phillips. That makes it a 9-1 Cincinnati lead.
You know, a few years ago he was a wannabe. Now he knows how good he is, and you don't see that showboat stuff. You just see him put the head down, run around the bases, and act like a real pro. Hits it, and look at him run. Can't resist not peeking a little bit, but you know, he's become a very good ball player. It's his third hit tonight. He only lacks a triple from hitting for the cycle. It's his 10th home run and his third RBI of the night, giving him 40.
Here's Jay Bruce. Dusty Baker, of course, doesn't have to use his closer for this ball game either. And now LaRue is up.
Now look at Franklin trying to teach him how to wind up.
The interesting point about this is that Miller, more than anything, is a specialist that will see one or two hitters, so you don't want to extend him too much. So that's one of the reasons why you see LaRue up at this point.
I'm not too sure. That's just LaRue getting up himself. What do you think?
Oh, I think he's got him up, getting him loose to come on in.
Tony's got him up?
Oh, yeah. I also see your point, too.
Tony's fuming about a few other things. And one is, where's his offense?
3 balls and 1 strike. Cardinals just 7 base hits tonight, 13 for the Cincinnati Reds.
And I do see your point too, that you know, you don't want Miller to get out there for extended time and not be available.
3-2. Miller is set, and here comes a 3-2 pitch to Jay Bruce. Little floater. Brendan Ryan, nice plays. He was turned around.
Is he going to make a pitching change? Took the glasses off.
Usually when you see that, that means a change is coming. No Spezio, no Miles, so.
But you got
LaRue getting loose.
You got Nick's left-handed hitter right after Hernandez.
14 pitches this inning.
Maybe the cat can find out tomorrow what Jason LaRue would feature if he ever came in to pitch.
Here's a 1-0. Popped up. We won't see it tonight. Thurston calling for it. He's got it. Sends us to the bottom of the ninth.
extend this game, and Budweiser, the great American lager, our player of the game, is Lance Nix. Boy, he was 2 for 4, 2 long home runs, 4 RBIs, as the Reds have hit 3 home runs in this tonight, 13 hits, 9 runs. Cardinals the last 14 games prior tonight had only allowed 1 home run, and that was the Aurelia home run in San Francisco. So Carlos Fisher, who's been the only Red to make a major league debut this season, will come in for his 5th game. He was promoted late May. He did pitch last night, throwing 13 pitches, getting a couple outs. And his first batter he'll face is Ankiel, Molina, Thurston, Stabenoa, Brendan Ryan, and right back up to the top of the order. Now, how's that sound?
All right, here's Rick Ankiel. He'll lead it off for the Cardinals. Average is down now to 216, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs. Check swing. Did not go. Ankiel tonight popped out to third. Line to left and grounded out his first time up on a hard hit ball to second. Numbers there on Fisher. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Bounce to the plate. Nice pick. 2 balls and no strikes. It's 9-1 Cincinnati. 1 in the second, 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 3 in the eighth, and 2 more in the ninth. They've hit 3 home runs tonight. They banged out 13 hits. The 2-0 pitch. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Fisher came in the 11th round selection by the Reds back in June 2005.
The 2-1 pitch, and Keel smokes one left center to the track, to the wall, and it's off the wall. And Ankiel speeding around first and into second with a stand-up double.
Well, I got it started for you.
Just good to see him get a hit and go the other way with it.
Out away from him, just drives the ball out into left center, goes high off the wall. Dickerson plays the carom and have a wild throw back in, but trailing by 8, you're not going to take too many extra bases.
And now it's Yadier Molina.
Some of the faithful stuck around for this late inning rally.
And Yadier takes a ball in.
Where's our buddy? We need former Reds closer.
Danny Graves.
Danny Graves. It's unfortunate. Danny had a nice career, you know, and a great kid. But that one memorable come from behind victory.
Danny Graves from Saigon, Vietnam. All right. 2 balls and no strikes on Yadier as he hit the deck.
Fisher kind of slipped on the mound and ball skipped at the feet of Molina.
Remember, we talked about the body language of Fisher last night. Gave up a couple of hits. Wild pitch. 2-0. Nowhere near the plate. Nobody getting loose in the pen for Cincinnati. This is a learning experience, no doubt, for him.
Well, put it this way. If you can't bring in any pitcher to protect a 8-run lead, he doesn't deserve to be on your team. So why should you get somebody up?
And he walks Molina.
Hopefully he's going to make a comeback here.
Thurston will be the hitter with 2 runners on.
And it comes out and come on now, you know, you got 8 runs to play with. They get a couple hits, score some runs, it's fine, but don't give me free passes. Last thing you want to do is when you're got a big lead like this is have to bring in another pitcher.
Milwaukee holds on in their game 9-6. Just wrap that up. So with 2 on, here is Thurston. And he looks at a ball a little bit low. It's 9-1 Cincinnati. here in the bottom of the ninth at Busch Stadium.
Dick Pohl will come out and threaten him. I mean, he'll talk to him.
One of the biggest Cardinal fans in the Midwest, Tom Schofield, is watching tonight, enjoying Cardinal baseball, but not enjoying what he sees here in this particular game. 9-1 Cincinnati.
Basically saying, if you want to stay here, throw strikes.
I don't blame him.
Well, I mean, it's the worst thing you can do. I mean, you don't want to waste another pitcher. Remember, the first game of this series, they got 1 inning from their starter, and Molquez had to come out with a bad arm. They're trying to conserve that bullpen for tomorrow. 94 miles an hour. You can't be afraid to throw strikes with that stuff.
Pretty free and easy, too.
Yeah.
1 ball, 1 strike. Thurston has reached on an error. He's grounded out. He's also flied out. 0 for 3 tonight. Two balls and 1 strike.
Still Bob Gibson when he was Joe Torre's attitude coach down in Atlanta, and he would go out to talk to pitchers, and had a young pitcher out on the mound and said, if there weren't 50,000 people here, I'd slap each of your knees. That's the motivation you need.
There's a base hit to the right, and Keel being waved in. He'll score easily to cut the lead to 9-2. Thurston picks up the RBI, his 16th on the year.
Well, you're going to throw strikes, be ready to hit them. And pitch the inner part of the plate, turns on it, drives in. Rick Ankiel for the second Cardinal run. And Stavinoa, who went in as part of the double switch, will come up now with a couple guys on the corners. Stirring in the Reds bullpen, but nobody up just yet.
Stavinoa, very good job as a pinch hitter as of late.
He's got 12 RBIs and 45 at bats with 12 hits.
Good rip.
He's already has 4 game-winning RBIs, including the one last night. Had 2 in the Kansas City series, a Friday and Saturday night, where he got base hits in the first time up to plate 2 in each game. And then his first home run in Milwaukee was a game winner.
Strike 2. Two pitch, here he comes. Popped out. Phillips. Foul territory, makes the catch. First and third now with 1 out. Here's Brendan Ryan. First pitch, shallow center. 2 outs. And the Cardinals down to their final out. Up to Martin to extend this game. And a ground ball slowly hits. Play at the plate to end the game. No. Molina safe. really, that's the only play that he had. He couldn't go to first, so he went to the plate.
Really a heads-up play for him to go there, as Hennigan get the tag down. Does he block the plate here? Couldn't go to first. He had no play, so the play in front of him with Molina running, and he's out.
Oh, yes, he is.
Wow. At least Darryl Cousins didn't mail it in, did he?
No, he didn't. One more chance now for Duncan.
Remember, Duncan's now playing first base, so Albert was taken out of this game, and the pitcher spot is on deck.
Lead cut to 9-3. 1 ball, 1 strike. Duncan tonight struck out in the first, a single in the third, and a pair of groundouts.
That new relief pitcher, Jason LaRue, will eventually get to the on-deck circle.
Cardinals again down to their final strike. And a 1-2 pitch to Duncan. And that's the ball game. The Reds win it 9-3. Game 4 of the series tomorrow here on Fox Sports Midwest. Will come your way at 6:30. 9-3 the final. Post-game show coming up.